Here's the scenario you are likely to encounter this summer. You're out at a state park, you're camping, you're using your trolling motor in the morning, but how do you get it recharged? Well, I've got an option that involves a solar panel, a Bluetti power station, and of course, your trolling motor battery. Let me take you through the scenario that optimizes how you're going to do this. Stay tuned. No, you haven't seen me talk about this in this scenario before because I've never strung together the solar panel, the power station, and the trolling motor battery in one video. And I'm going to show you how to optimize the use of all of them in a camping situation. But first, I need to point out that Bluetti gave me this power station, no obligation for me to like it or not, but it was provided to me at no charge for review. And one of the first things I need to point out is the documentation says don't have this in direct sun like I have right now. And that is because I think there is a charger on top where you can put your phone on and it will recharge your phone. So let's quickly review how this is going to fit into the scenario. Well, this thing has multiple USB outlets. It's got the cigarette light adapter. It's got 4 regular plugs, and of course it's got a light. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in the solar panel to the Bluetti and then plug in the trolling motor to this. But there's more to it than just doing that. It's all about timing. But first, let me get this out of the direct sunlight and then we can talk about how this is going to work a little bit better. So this thing has 800 watts of power. It'll surge up to 1400. My trolling motor battery is an 100 amp hour battery, so the capacity of this does not equal the full capacity of this particular trolling motor battery. But you don't typically use your entire trolling motor battery the way I'm about to describe. So here's the scenario. You pull into the campsite, you wake up in the morning and you're going to go out fishing. Well, you're going to come back for lunch because it's really not good fishing in the middle of the hot afternoon. So that is when you're going to set up the solar panel, the power station, and pass through charge to your trolling motor battery so you can then go back out that evening, have some more fun, come back, and then of course you can dump the rest of your power station into the trolling motor battery for the next morning, rinse, repeat, solar panel, power station, trolling motor battery the next afternoon while you're taking a break during the heat of the day. Now, Bluetti says that this unit supports pass-through charging, but if you read their frequently asked questions, they don't really recommend it because it will reduce the life of the unit. So the question you have to ask yourself is, well, how often are you going to do that? And based on the answer, it's probably not going to make a difference. So let me get this thing set up and I'll show you how it's all going to work. The unit comes with a hookup to hook up using the standard solar panel connectors, and then it goes into a DC input on the front of the Bluetti unit. So the first thing I'm going to do is get this set up, make sure the Bluetti is charging, and then I'll do pass-through charging to my trolling motor battery. A few quick clicks, I'm ready to go. Plug it in, and let's see if I'm getting any input. Now this is a 160 watt solar panel. You need to be careful about the size of the solar panel you use to charge this. Now one of the things I learned with these solar panels is you need to adjust them a little bit and watch the wattage input to verify that you're getting the best wattage based on the angle you have it to the sun. According to my BMS app that links into my battery, I'm sitting at 13% charge. So let me go ahead and get this hooked up. And I will plug it in. According to my app here, I'm getting 18 amps of input into the battery here. It's already up to 14%, so that's good to go. Power is into here is at 247, and the Bluetti is kicking out 309. So by having the charger in the middle, I'm losing about 30 watts of power. So again, that's got to factor into your calculus in terms of how you want to recharge your battery. But the good news is that 93 of those watts right now, as I look at it, 95, are coming from the sun. So I'm going to be able to extend the life of this Bluetti, still have plenty of juice left over to run a fan, lights, maybe a mini fridge and things like that in my campsite, while at the same time charging up the trolling motor. Now the next question is, how full do you really need your trolling motor to be? If you're running a lithium battery, you know that it will put out power all the way down to 0, although you probably shouldn't drop it much below 20%. So based on your assessment of how much you're going to fish that evening and maybe the next morning, well, maybe you don't need to fill this thing up to 100% because you still want some juice, like I said, in the power station to run lights and things like that in your campsite. So back to the scenario, you're done fishing for the morning, it's the hot of the afternoon, and say you're going to go back out at around 4 o'clock. Well, it's 1 o'clock right now, so I'm back in from that fishing. This is the heat of the day. It's a day in late April, so the sun isn't optimum like it would be in the summer. So I'm going to let this thing run until 4 o'clock, 4:30, when would be the normal time that I'd pack up my kayak and get ready to go back and go fishing. And at that point, we'll see what the charge is on the battery and the charge is on the Bluetti to see how far down the Bluetti came from 100%. Another thing I should mention is the Bluetti comes with a car adapter to where you can recharge this as you're driving around. So if you come back to your campsite, need to run out to the convenience store to get something, be sure to plug it in, because why not keep this thing fully charged with the convenience of the car charger, because you can always charge up your trolling motor battery overnight. It's about 2.5 hours later, and the power station has exhausted itself in charging my battery. But I've got 63% of charge, which is plenty for me to go fishing later tonight or tomorrow morning. But I've still got plenty of sun left, so the idea is leave this in place, continue to charge the power station, and then you'll have more juice for tomorrow. One of the things you need to be prepared to do is to adjust your solar panel to be face on to the sun. So this is the second adjustment I've made to track the sun across the sky. As a result of that, I've boosted my wattage from 81 up to 90. So keep fiddling with this until you max it out, and that maxes out the capability of your panel. 6 o'clock, late April, during the middle of summer, the sun would be higher than it is right now. I've had to move this unit from over there to here to keep it aligned with the sun, but the sun is disappearing fast because I've got trees on the other side, so I'm going to call an end to mission here. Well, let's see how much is in here. The key thing is there enough power in here to power my lights, my phone, and maybe a fan? So I pop it on, and it looks like I've got 20% charge. That should be plenty to do everything I need to do at the campsite at night. Let's wrap this up. Well, 20% isn't enough to recharge my trolling motor tomorrow, but if this were the summer, I would have probably got well over 100 watts coming into this thing, as opposed to being in late April. The other thing you could do, of course, is get a bigger, more robust solar panel, although the Bluetti will only take a 200 watt input, so that would be the max for this particular box. But the box is going to work. Now, I typically use maybe 25 to 30 amp hours when I go out for a whole day. So remember, I started at 13%. The box charged it up to over 60%. So basically, I had enough for 2 more days of fishing before we even got to recharging it a couple more times on subsequent days. So I think that the solar panel, power box, and battery is going to be a viable solution for summer camping. Have you had experience on this? If so, throw in the comments. We all need to learn.